Coming to you alive through the power of the interwebs. Inside the Green Room studio from the flagship source of the Earth Mix Garden Products Network, it's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates, bringing you all the wisdom and wit you'll ever need to tackle your garden and your projects. Now broadcasting alive from Bates Nursery and Garden Center at 3810 Whites Creek Pike, just 1 mile north of exit 19 off Briley Parkway. Or 0.9 miles as the Josh drives. Here's Josh Cary and David Bates.
Oh yeah, everybody knows what that music means. Even though I didn't hear the music, it's time to climb a tree very carefully because it might be icy. It's going to be icy. You're going to find it. You're going to find a project. You're going to see out there. You're going to look and you're going to lay it in the unmarked grave of history. Welcome in, everybody. It is the At Home Show. My name is Josh Cary.
And I'm David Bates.
And we are coming to you from the Green Room Studios there at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and from the Gray Room Studio, auxiliary studio here at the Proving Grounds. I'm waiting for the portal to open, David. I can't get to Groom Lake. I guess there's a delay because of the ice storm. It's crazy this travel time of year.
Yeah, it's a synaptic differential between the particulate exchanger. So I changed out the resonator and the duplicator like you told me to.
Yeah. And
I thought we had. Obviously, last week I was able to make the connection. I mean, I struggled for a couple of weeks, so this is just your first shot.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay. Well, I had to check a bag. The bag's already gone. I don't know what the deal is there.
Why didn't it take your 2 pictures of those ocelots behind you?
That's not an ocelot. It's a snow leopard. And a kitty on this side.
Oh, okay. They're ocelots.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do here. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get into the weather here, and I think it's something worth talking about. And of course, today is Saturday, the 13th of February. Uh-huh. And by the way, lest we forget, tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
I didn't forget.
Well, I haven't forgotten either. But responsibility is on.
The onus is on us.
Exactly. That's another issue. We'll get to that in a minute. Today's Saturday, going to be cloudy conditions, high of 35 degrees, and I'm going to peek up here. We're talking about 27 degrees currently, so that's a little touch and go. 33 tomorrow for the high temperature, 25 for the low. Still, those are not unusual. Then Monday, 28, 16, wintry mixed to snow. Tuesday, mostly cloudy, some rain, 37-31, 48-20 on Thursday. Friday, this first mention of sunshine. And if you look down here below these numbers here, you see that it's talking about 1.2 inches possibly Sunday night, maybe as much as 6 inches. Now, we're going to compare that to what the Winter Storm Watch. We also have an active winter weather advisory going on right now. That goes on until 10 o'clock this morning. And what we can expect is freezing drizzle, freezing fog, a few patches of light freezing rain, additional ice accumulations of a light glaze. There's nothing like, no one wants a heavy glaze. A light glaze is always, a lot more acceptable. For winter storm watch, heavy mixed precipitation is possible. And I don't know exactly what heavy mixed precipitation is, but snow accumulations of 1 to 3 inches and ice accumulations of up to 0.2 of an inch are possible. And that's portions all over Middle Tennessee is where that is. And, there's all manner of details on that. Now, here's the winter storm watch. Now, this goes into effect tomorrow evening. Okay. This is tomorrow evening, and what we're going to look for is a winter weather advisory, freezing rain, drizzle, freezing fog, a few patches of light freezing rain, then additional ice accumulations, again, 1 to 3 inches of snow. Mm-hmm. Here's the part, additional details hidden kind of at the bottom. Although confidence is high that significant weather will impact the area Sunday night through Monday night. The details, including exact snow and ice amounts, are subject to change. Please check back for updates. And then there's the precautionary and preparedness actions. So here's something people need to be mindful of, just to kind of throw a couple things in your car by chance. If something significant happens and you have to go out, throw a blanket and a few energy bars and maybe a couple bottles of water in there just in case. Hopefully nothing like that will happen.
No antifreeze, ladies and gentlemen, in the car. In the safety kit. No.
Meaning don't leave it in the car overnight.
You're speaking of antifreeze in terms of alcohol is what you're talking about.
It will give you a false sense of security, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And it can also give you a DUI whether you're driving or not. Because you're in your vehicle. And so there's that side of it. So anyway, somewhere between, this shows like a total of, if we got all of that, 7.3 inches of snow and the 1 to 3 inches that they're talking about on the official. But there also the disclaimer that says we don't really know exactly how much is going to happen. So be aware. There's a whole variety of things. I'm one of those guys. I was a Boy Scout for a day. That was all I got to be. But I like the Boy Scout credo, though. Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yes.
And so I take that to heart, and I try.
Now, there's a story there that let's don't run right past that. You had a 1-day career as a Boy Scout.
Well, my dad found out that there was going to be camporees involved, and that it would take us out of work, so that was the end of it.
And he might have to go as well.
No. That he didn't want to have. He was not going to fight that fight. So
I was a Boy Scout for 12 years. So
yeah. So anyway, I digress.
Yes.
So
okay. We do that on the At Home Show
often. Anyway, the main issue is that we have a really significant chance of quickly changing weather. Now, one of the big differences right now from a couple of days ago when we were, we've had some recent concerns up in Hopkinsville, for instance. They had a lot of ice. It was very hazardous. In Texas, it was very hazardous. I mean, people lost their lives on the road. So, there's ice is nothing to take lightly. No one. Four-wheel drive gets you nothing because all
snow tires mean nothing.
All vehicles have four-wheel brakes. So, and if you're going along at 30, 40 miles an hour and you're on black ice and there's someone stopped in front of you, you will hit them, or you'll hit something.
10 miles an hour.
Yeah, so it's a really potentially dangerous situation. Here's the deal, though. The freezing rain part, if it is warm aloft, that is to say we've got snow that, because there's warm air in between, it turns back into rain. And if it doesn't freeze before it hits the ground, it will freeze now when it hits the ground, because the streets and surfaces are all cold now. We've had sustained cold weather for a number of hours and a couple of days now. So the heat that was there has been dissipated.
Now, I think our old friend George Plaster used to call that a trough aloft.
Yeah, well, being the weather god that George was, he certainly would have a informed opinion.
Can you name all the Tennessee counties, David Bates?
No, but I know there's 95 of them.
Bill Hayes says, "Bring on the snow."
Well, Bill's a Green Bay Packer kind of guy, so he's always ready for it.
He laughs at 7 inches of snow. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah. Well,
he's got to laugh at something because they didn't win
the
Super Bowl.
He's the guy that will come and pull your butt out of the ditch when you're out there riding around in the snow.
Yes, he'll be out there riding around looking for. He's that kind of guy. He's
nice
a
fella.
Very good guy.
Be out there.
Now, one of the things that people ought to be thinking about, though, we've the forecast. Those who don't obsess over the forecast like me probably don't have any real awareness of it. But over the last 10 days, the forecast has been changing about every 2 hours. And you can look at 5 different forecasts and get 5 very different outlooks. And just from the National Weather Service and Weather Underground, which is the one I most frequently use, that's kind of crowdsourced data, which is how they base their forecast. That's what their models are showing, but others are showing a 20% chance of precipitation.
Is this like one of these things where if the system moves just a few degrees to the north or south is going to depend on what kind of precipitation?
Well, it depends on who gets it. Yeah, I mean, is it going to be further west? I mean, it looks like it's pretty much in a line from Memphis to Nashville. That's almost the center line down the significant precipitation zone. So one of the things that people need to be mindful of is that, with those kinds of conditions that are certainly going to be getting bad quickly, you need to have major preparations in advance so that you're not out going, what do we do? What do we do? I'm not good with that feeling. I like to know, okay, I've got my little generator over here. I know how I'm going to set it up, because it can't be where you're getting, you don't want a generator in the house. You also want anything else that's generating noxious fumes like
charcoal.
You don't want to do that, and even things that you wouldn't normally run. Things like
lanterns,
space heaters, things that you're not accustomed to using. You don't want to leave those running while you're sleeping.
Now, go ahead. Finish with you.
No.
I was going to say, this is also the point in time when this is why you brag about having a gas fireplace.
Yeah,
all year.
Yeah, well, I do have one of those, and I have, much to my wife's chagrin, she does not like it because she doesn't like the way it looks. But upstairs, I have a gas blue flame heater that is thermostatically controlled that requires no electricity to run.
Like a wall heater almost.
It's a wall heater that you can turn on, and if with no power at all, you can still have heat upstairs. So we can go upstairs and still have heat.
David, if you turn the heat on downstairs, doesn't that go upstairs?
Well, if you don't have electricity, you don't have heat. Even though
if you have the gas logs, you turn the gas logs on downstairs, the heat will tend to rise to a certain degree to the upstairs.
In the room that it's in, it certainly will. But you have moved it off 2 rooms, makes it pretty tough. It's a lot easier to have it. Makes it a little easier to have it close at hand. Now, I'm the kind of guy who has made provisions to have enough power to be able to run fans on my gas furnaces. A gas furnace does not heat without electricity, even though it's gas. That's the primary fuel source for the heat. Gas does not run the fan that moves the air around.
It won't circulate the air.
It won't even turn on without electricity because there's no microvoltage there to be able to tell the relay sensor to turn the fan on that can't turn on because there's no power there. So your systems will circumvent that if you don't have a way to get power to your central furnace. So that's one of the things that you need to keep in mind. A lot of folks will have a small generator, and I actually have a whole house generator that I have yet to ever get working to my satisfaction. So I'm using a small one that I have, a little 3,000 watt with a long heavy duty extension cord to run the critical things: refrigerator and internet,
the internet,
and the freezer, okay,
and the television.
But the freezer, as long as you don't open it, and particularly in cold weather, nothing's going to thaw. Just leave it closed and don't be opening.
Put it outside on the porch.
The moral of the story is this kind of weather happens at least every 2 to 3 years around here, if not more often, but at least every 2 to 3 years. So it always pays. You don't want to be caught standing there going, "How am I going to heat my house? How am I going to cook my food? How am I going to do anything like that?"
Right. If you are a camper, a backpacker type person, then you're probably already set because you have the cook stove, you have all the the accoutrements.
Gas grills will function.
A charcoal grill.
The propane is.
Yep.
A charcoal grill will be just fine. And I got a Weber, and you can do all kinds of stuff on that thing. You can fry stuff, bake stuff, everything.
Yeah, you just put a skillet directly onto the griddle, and you have a cooking surface.
Now, you might be a bit cold cooking it.
Well, yeah. Well, but it creates memories that the family can enjoy for years to come.
I can't remember what show it was. There was a sitcom where the whole episode was about the dad refusing. It might have been a Last Man Standing kind of thing where he refused. He wanted to grill year round. It was like a blizzard, and he was still trying to stand out there grilling. That reminds me. That seems like Josh. That's a very Josh thing to do.
We had a Christmas dinner. Yeah. Michael, back in the day, before children and some elderly parents came around, the third weekend in January was the weekend that I usually missed the at-home program because we would go backpacking, rain, sleet, dark of night, snow, whatever it was. 5 degrees, 5 below degrees, 75 degrees, just depended upon which way it was going to go. But your Coleman stove, folks, I mean, it'll always work. You just want to be careful with your fuel, and you don't want to really cook with those on the inside of the home either. And open a window even if you have to, if you get it, because those noxious fumes you'll go to sleep and
you won't wake up. Yeah,
nah.
Not good.
Also, something else you could do is make friends with someone who has a gas range.
There you go. And that's when if you're not already well acquainted with your neighbors, it gives you a great opportunity.
When I was a kid, we had you guys probably remember, it was that big ice storm. It was like 1994.
95.
Yes, 95. Mm-hmm. And down our road, we had several neighbors, and my mom was the only one that had a gas range, and she made spaghetti for the entire street.
There you go.
So
very cool. Now, David, back in the late '80s, there was a period of time in February, I believe, that we had below zero for a period of time.
That was in '85. That was in '85. Yes, that was Super Bowl Sunday. As a matter of fact, the high temperature for that day here at the nursery was 10 below zero. The high temperature. So fortunately, we're not
literally,
seeing
Michael. It was so cold you could do the boiling water experiment outside in the driveway.
I remember when it was that cold.
Now, that from a horticultural standpoint is extremely scary. It took. I was literally up around the clock, keeping. At the time, we used these what we always refer to as these salamander type heaters. You put kerosene or diesel fuel in them, and they have a upright flue. You see them used a lot in groves in Florida for orange trees, but we would use those inside. They're not very clean, and when you're burning them inside,
it smells so good.
Yeah,
oh man,
they're very difficult to deal with. We now for emergency heat use gas, either propane or natural gas, depending on which structure that we're in. To provide supplemental heat, but that's only when we're having temperatures that are down in the below zero range for more than one night. Now, generally speaking, the conditions leading up to it, we won't have concerns about that on the first night. But by the second night, if you've having that kind of cold temperatures, you're not getting probably more than the teens in the day. And we certainly are going to see temperatures that are not going to be above freezing, but they're not going to be that cold. So you're not going to have that level of concern, and we don't hear, but we try to prepare as though it's going to be bad. Even this time last week, we were seeing forecasts that were showing the temperatures to be in the single-digit range overnight, which gave us pause and concern because we don't know whether, certainly, could it go a few degrees colder? And it went warmer, fortunately. But what we've gotten in the place of that cold is moisture, which could ultimately lead to snow, ice conditions.
Well, and again, anytime I would have a preference, it would be for the white stuff, not the clear stuff.
Don't want black ice.
No, and it will get through it. I mean, it's just going to take a couple of days. I mean, it's going to be a nasty week, and then we'll see what happens going on.
So if you've got grocery provisions you need to make, hey, go ahead and get those done, and don't everybody wait until the last minute.
Milk, toilet paper.
Well, Michael already said everybody's already stocked on toilet paper.
Yeah,
so most people already have like a 2-year supply, right?
So toilet paper is going to be cash soon.
You're going to have to get, either that or Bitcoin, or Dogecoin, whatever that, the virtual stuff. Now, David, again, since you've got these, there's a big trend, and it's all over the news about the Bitcoin. How are the virtual plants doing? I know you've sold those in the past.
Yeah,
I mean, are they through the roof?
We've got a great deal on virtual 4x4 boxwoods, where that if you bought the real ones, they'd probably be like $800 or $900. The virtual ones for $450.
Okay, and you, the unlimited supply. You don't have to mine them.
No.
Just order them.
Many as you want.
Now,
And of course,
how do you
I'm being facetious. With we do not sell virtual plants. We only sell actual plants. We don't even sell artificial plants.
Well, hold on. Wouldn't artificial plants technically be virtual plants?
No, because they actually are. They are
Physical.
They are physical.
But David, if someone wanted to give you $450 for a virtual plant, you wouldn't sell it to them?
I would make sure they understood what they were buying.
Okay. They could come and visit it.
It's just here. Yeah, go to this website. That's where your plant's located, and we can even put pictures of your house in there and plug them in. You go, oh, that's so beautiful. Your reality.
Would you offer a warranty on one? Now,
lifetime.
Even what?
Lifetime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Were that the case? So
Even
under all
annuals.
conditions,
You could sell virtual annuals. Would you have to buy them more than once though? You would have to raise the prices.
There would be no
on them.
annuals in a virtual world.
David,
I've just made David like $1 million.
Did you
You
really?
remember the old Tamagotchi, like pets,
I
like
have
the
one.
little LCD things. You need to make one for plants,
Yeah.
and they can plant their virtual pet, and they can grow. But then it might die if they don't water it enough.
Maybe
Dude,
sell another one.
I think you just made some money.
Plantagotchi. I'm down.
Plantagotchi, yeah.
Plantagotchi. Well, that'll be Tyler's next assignment coming up.
I'm going to learn programming, everybody.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Hey.
Get some COBOL in you there, boy. 615-499-6690 if you want to interact with the at-home
Hey,
show
we do
crew.
ask that you share that out and
Yes.
if you're watching us on Facebook, you can share it out there. You can go to, if you're seeing us on YouTube, you can share it out
Yes.
through there. And we do post it around. Let's take just a moment, because a lot of people are going to be inside right now, and they're not going to be. I'm getting on the right page here. They're not going to be maybe wanting to think about digging in the ground outdoors. They're going to be thinking inside. So let's talk for a minute about Proganics I, which is the indoor mix made by Earth Mix, and it is some of the attributes that make Proganics I different than other soils, Josh, is that number one, it has no peat in it whatsoever.
Or Paul.
The peat moss, as I'm referring to.
Mr. Moss is a nice guy, though.
Peat, but peat moss can be bad about attracting fungus gnats. And because
He should bathe more.
because Proganics I has coconut core in it instead of peat moss, it does not attract or make a situation where fungus gnats are a problem. So it's a much better for indoor use from that respect alone. And if you've ever spent any time in an actual greenhouse where there's peat, there's those annoying little gnats are an ever-present thing. So using that really helps a lot. And of course, we have the gardening season right now. It seems far away, but the gardening season is coming up really soon. So if you're wanting to get the very best organic soils, go all over the Middle Tennessee area. And it's not just Middle Tennessee. We clicked on the Find Earth Mix tab. That's at earthmix.net. And if you click on the Find Earth Mix tab, you'll see the map shows all the points around Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and other locations are coming up. Already the low went out to Memphis last week. So check out. And on any one of these, for instance, you can click right on it. It tells you right where they are. It has their website, phone number. So if you're looking for any of the folks around, check them out. So that's out earthmix.net. And just remember this, success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. And we appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and discuss what you may be planning to do in your garden.
Yeah, 615-499-6690. Join us, folks. If you've got a question, interact on the Facebook page.
Yeah, you
or
can text Michael on the special phone.
Yep, I have the band phone.
The bat phone?
Here.
Yep, there it is.
Have you got Tom Brady's phone number on that bat phone, sir?
Well,
I know you need a few minutes to gush, so go ahead.
I wasn't gushing about Tom. I just said he was going to win the Super Bowl. I'd always cheered for the Titans. I mean, they always let you down, so I had to cheer for somebody who was going to win. I mean, geez.
You got some avocado tequila?
You know that I think, Josh, now just in fairness, Michael kind of, we do some little three-way messaging to each other. And during the Super Bowl, there was quite a lot of smack that the young man was bringing to the screen. I mean, even though you and I weren't soliciting that, he was bringing it.
David may not have been soliciting it, but Josh was. I wasn't aiming most of that at you, because you openly admitted what you said was I'm
the Tim Curry meme thing.
No,
okay,
he said
that's all right.
He said the Chiefs were going to win, but he goes, I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady either. That wouldn't surprise me. Josh was over there going, nope, ain't going to happen. Josh is an old man. You are an old man, but now, Tom Brady is an old man.
Yeah, and in defense of the Chiefs, and it does not all come down to quarterback, and unfortunately for the Chiefs, and that's just part of the way the game is, they were decimated, particularly on the offensive line. They had so many that really compromised them greatly. Because in the AFC Championship game, they lost the starting right tackle, the left, the right guard had to flip over to the right tackle, and they're kicking guys around.
Was he as an aerosol?
Turf toe.
Yeah. Come on.
So they did have a lot of things, and I will say, it seemed that the officials were focused on penalties. Well, not home cooking. No. Well, I mean, it might have been home cooking, but it seemed like that it did not make the difference in the game. I'm not saying that it did, but there were some calls. You go, I thought they kind of let them play a little bit more than that. They were a little ticky tackles.
That Tyrann Mathieu or whatever his name is, he cost them at least 2 touchdowns.
Well, granted. And he got frustrated, and they got under his skin.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you don't want to do to Tom Brady or any other veteran quarterback is to
let him in your head.
Yeah, because he got into his head bad, and that as you see with Tom Brady in his career, he pretty much knows how to close those things out. So he had him right where he wanted him.
He's the Nolan Ryan of football.
Yeah,
as far as getting inside your head.
Yep, and he's going to keep.
That's because Nolan Ryan would throw a baseball at your head. He played in the
he's a man.
A 95 mile an hour fastball.
Yeah, he was throwing that when he was like 44 years old.
Oh my goodness, 615-499-6690. David Bates, I noticed that our old friend and spam partner Corey Pollard is watching the program this morning.
Well, good morning, Corey. We appreciate
Corey
you.
could pick up the phone and call 615-499-6690.
Corey could even, in a future episode, become a guest. We'd love to have him.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have him come on via Zoom or in person if he happens to be in town. But certainly the Zoom is the really easy way to go. So thanks to everybody who's tuning in this morning. And we've kind of kicked around the idea about doing some Zoom. Guests, just to put a Zoom invite out there so that people can come in and we can kind of selectively pick people and
an open forum.
A more open forum. We haven't done that. We've managed to put a couple of things together and create this.
Corey wants to know why I'm in the timeout box. Now, folks, what we're doing here beyond the
he valid question.
He lost Curry up. That's why.
That's what
happened.
All right,
Tarzan. Okay. All right. We stopped it with the Tarzan and Jane. Anyway, that's a private joke, inside joke. No, Corey, what we have here is I'm testing some equipment that we bought to make sure that it would work if there were ever a travel need to happen. We are moving back and forth between here and Groom Lake and other offsite facilities. David has spent some remote time out there, and he's asked me to follow up on a few things that I have to actually visually take a look at out there. So Well, we're seeing. Plus, it was supposed to be really nasty, cold and wet and nasty driving from.
And this is just our attempt to prove that we can indeed walk and chew gum at the same time. You know, we've got enough technical proficiency. Now, what would be the ultimate test? And I don't, you know, because see, Tyler has to be able to get here. So, you know, I don't know how that if we have a contingent plan in mind where Tyler can broadcast. From his house and us all zoom into it. I guess we theoretically could do that, but
I have upgraded my home internet now to have the upload pipe to like literally send us currently like what we have here.
Now, do you have a fiber connection or are you a cable?
It's
or
cable, but it's about 20 megabits now.
Okay,
so
well that's a reasonable enough. Now,
so I could have you all on Zoom, put you in the show, and then send you out.
So
just the same.
If it comes to it, that's what we'll do. But and it'll probably be a slight rollback. You do have even from an audio standpoint, we might be slightly more challenged because we don't think so.
No.
Well,
So
we can go remote.
So since we're basically doing that, if we were all zoomed in and I was at my house, I would just have the exact same stuff on the board I have at home.
And of course, Tyler has a board at his home also.
Yes.
So
I have a full.
All you have to do is, we wouldn't have cancel schools for the next 2 days.
Well, today and tomorrow.
Right. Well, of course, I mean
That's
they're going to be closed.
Classes.
They're going to be closed
and
anyway.
Virtual.
Going to be closed anyway. But but it's official. We said it right here. Schools are closed everywhere.
And if anyone
all
gives
95
you any
counties,
if anyone gives you any guff about not going to school on Sunday, you just send them to David.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
what
don't
he
forget
said.
What he said. But David's phone number 615-499-6690 if you've got questions about the bus schedule
Just
or
like what it
anything else.
says right there. There you go.
See what is going on. But it'd be safe out there if you do decide to travel as it goes along. I actually have a nephew who is relocating from the University of Florida area in Gainesville, and he's got a new job in the University of Colorado, and he's traveling to Aurora this week. Okay.
Good luck with that.
Hey, it'll be a rapid adjustment for him. But, he's probably is already like a skateboarder, so all he's got to do is take the wheels off, and then he becomes
he's
a
way too clumsy
snowboarder.
to be a skateboarder. No,
Is that right?
No. Oh, absolutely. I mean, he got all of his Uncle Josh's grace. But I recommended that they take the southern route, which would be I-10 all the way to El Paso. Turn right at Las Cruces, go up 25 all the way to Albuquerque, and then take a right turn, not a left turn like Bugs Bunny used to do, and go on up to Aurora that way. But he pointed out that there's this mountain pass that's only at about 8,500 feet that you have to go through.
Is that an issue?
Have it clear. I'd be willing to go out on a limb to say that pass would probably be clear.
Well, except in the worst situation, I say it probably gets a high level of attention. They don't like keeping those mountain passes blocked. Allow them.
Now, this Florida boy seems to think that snow tires are going to help him. Do they even sell snow tires anymore? We'll have to ask our friend.
There are a lot of these places where they won't let you get on unless you have chains. Yeah. So, I'm sure it's difficult to buy a set of snow chains in Florida. I don't know that you can get them here. I have made them, however. I have it physically. It's just chains that are linked together. It's easier to buy them. I'll tell you that. But we used to make them for tractor
sell
tires.
snow tires anymore? We have a tire salesman.
I don't think
out
you can't get the studs in them anymore.
You can get all-terrain tires. I think is about the best you can get.
But they don't
isn't it?
They don't have studs. Remember when they used to come with the
like cleats for your cars?
And people would run them, because you're only supposed to run them during the snow, but you could hear them going down the interstate with those metal studs going down the road. So it's
It's kind of like the people that don't turn off their fog lights when it's not foggy and you can't see
the
nothing.
super LEDs that blind you as you come down the road.
Those are probably those about 10,000 Kelvin. Those are the ones that I just go,
That'd be really hot, wouldn't it, David?
Well, that's a temperature reading based on luminosity. So it's the ones that look extremely blue. That's the high end of the Kelvin scale. Now we've got a mixture here of 5s and 27s. 27s on the plant, 2,700 degrees Kelvin on the plants, and on us, it's like 5,000.
I saw a pickup truck the other day coming behind me up Whites Creek Pike.
Yep.
His lights were so blue, I thought he was a cop.
I swear, I think the same thing all the time. They're so blue. You just go, okay, is that legal?
I don't think it should be.
I don't think so either. Anytime you see lights that confuse you for even a nanosecond.
Like, I pulled over to let him out go past until I saw he was a truck. Like, I was that
Did he
convinced.
have really dark tinted windows in it as well?
No, it was his headlights that were blue. The only reason I thought it was a cop is he was going past a fence that I'd passed earlier, so the blue was kicking in and out.
Well, no, I think it's a very valid point, because I've had the same instant thought that you see that color blue and you think police car.
Yeah, get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Which I'm sure he was like, "Oh man, thanks for getting over, dude." Yeah. Off he went.
Well, we were coming back from Florida last week or week before.
Which one was it?
It was a week, but it was actually last week, because this is still Saturday, so it was last week, 10 days ago or so. Anyway, we were coming back, and I'm in the left lane. I've got my adaptive cruise control set on my wife's car, so I'm just I'm doing 73 miles an hour. I'm going slightly over, and all of a sudden I hear bump, bump, and I'll see the blue lights in the. I go, you gotta be kidding me! So I pull over, and he just passes me. I get back over in the right lane, and then
He was telling you to hurry up, because 73 is like the minimum accepted speed inside the Sunshine State of Florida.
So anyway, we did catch up to that. It was a pickup truck, a white GMC Silverado pickup truck.
Always the pickup trucks
with the lights in the window, and it was a legitimate police vehicle, because there were somebody suspicious that was pulled over a few miles up the road.
A Florida man.
That we caught a Florida man.
That elusive Florida man.
Yep. So he, I don't know what he had done, but he was attracting a lot of attention to himself.
Some of my favorite things, I've only ever been able to pull this off twice, but sometimes, you get that guy just driving erratically, and he's always wanting to race everybody.
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't ever pay attention to his surroundings, so you get to a stoplight and you rev your motor a little bit, and he revs it back, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I want to show this guy up," and then you just don't go anywhere, and he zips off right in front of the cop. Cop pulls him over. Done it twice. Best feeling in the world.
Oh.
And then I wave as I go by.
Well, and there are those who support the theory that you can do thought control with police officers when you get pulled over. Like Obi-Wan did in Star Wars. When they
These aren't. This isn't the car you're looking for.
Yeah, these are not the droids you're looking for. So you can. I don't think you have to say, "I'm about to run out of gas." And
I was in a hurry to get to.
I was in a hurry to get to a gas station. And distract them. Anyway, there's some guy I read, or there was. I don't know if I read it. It was a video I watched a couple of years ago. This guy who had done this experiment. It worked one time out of 20. He got 19 other tickets and citations, but one time it did work. He was able to just confuse the officer enough where the officer forgot that he was pulling him over, and and then he drove away. But that's a high price to pay to get that 5%.
When I was on the radio during the week more often, I've got pulled over a few times, and just about every single time they're like, "Oh, hey, I recognize your voice. You're the guy on the radio. Yeah, just be careful. They let me off with a warning." The last time it happened, I was leaving Cookeville, and the guy got me. And, he's just looking at me. He's like, "You sound familiar." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm Moose. I'm on whatever station." And he goes, "Oh, then you can tell him about how you paid your ticket." And he goes, Yeah, it was a
Thank you,
a
sir.
roast. Yeah, that's
Well, I know us when we walk into a room, David and I together. They know that we're the at-home show hosts. I mean, the crowd parts. I mean, people they go from side to side. They stand there in awe when we walk into a room.
I think that's a different reality that you exist in, Josh. But hey, let's take just a minute. Let's take just a minute here and talk about where we are and what we're doing here, because we are in the green room at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and we're a full-time, year-round, third-generation, family-owned business. So we don't do anything but plants and everything you need to get them to grow their very best. And so there's no coincidence that we are a strong supporter of Earth Mix Garden products. And we carry that because we carry all the best plants from all the best growers all over the country, including the state of Tennessee, which there are many fine growers here. And what you can do is go to our website, batesnursery.com, and there's a little magnifying glass right there. That's your little search box, and you can click on that and search whatever you're looking for in our extensive inventory. Now, if you look out here on our lot physically, it looks like we're out of business right now.
liquidation sale.
But that's really not the case because we have these buildings that are full of plants. So
yes,
come out here and check that out. This photograph right here is actually in our perennial house, which is one of the buildings that actually does have plants in it right now. So if you come out today, you can look at plants. We also have, of course, the largest selection of tropicals anywhere in Middle Tennessee. So it may be that on a day like today, particularly with Valentine's Day being tomorrow, guys, you need to go out and get something for your sweetheart. And, of course, we have a lot of wonderful things, including decorative containers and all the soils you need to fix her up something really nice, beautiful plants, flowering plants, great foliage. It's a great opportunity to do the right thing. Come out and do something nice for your sweetheart. We're open, by the way, from 10 until 2 today. So about an hour after we go off the air, we'll be open here.
As a reminder, if you're on your way to the grocery store to get your milk, bread, paper towels, and other necessary hygiene products, go by the nursery and get something, because you might not be able to get there tomorrow and Monday. Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah. Now, I do a weekly newsletter, and if you receive that, I thank you very much. Nearly 24,000 people subscribe to it, which astounds me. So I really do appreciate the level of interest that there is in what I put forth every week, because it's kind of about gardening and it's kind of about whatever's going on in life. So anyway, if you want to subscribe to that, you can do so right on the website there. Just scroll about halfway down. The next section down is really Tyler's department and the Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp, or the BNBBC as we like to call it around here. It is your portal for gardening information, and it doesn't matter what you're talking about. In the past days, we've had a wonderful, extensive program about rain gardens. Cary Kevlin, our very own Terry Kevlin, did a great presentation on that. Cary did a discussion yesterday on decorative containers and pots that you have to choose from and how to go through that process and pros and cons of that. We've got Joy Bovin coming up. I think it's on Tuesday, weather permitting.
Weather permitting.
That the we're talking about biodiversity and planting, and then Austin is going to be talking about rose care. And
Austin told me he can talk for 3 to 4 hours about roses.
Yes, and there's no shortage of information there. And Austin's he is a plethora of horticultural information. So there's that. I want you to check out the blog. Here's the weather permitting one, which I mentioned. And you can go to the website, check that out there, and I talk a little bit about the things you need to be thinking about, and also links to all the various things. So just be mindful. Our hours are largely dictated by what the weather will allow. So if we do get the snow that they're talking about on Sunday night, Monday, we likely will be closed Monday, perhaps Tuesday. Check our Facebook page, which is my recommendation. And do you concur with that, Tyler? If we can Is that the easiest spot, or where do you say?
Yeah, so I update our Instagram and our Facebook, and even Google. We'll put in some emergency hours if that's the case.
So, or if you want to, you can pick up the phone and give us a call, 615-876-1014. You can check out that way. So come see us, Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where we are proud to our 89th year, surprisingly. My grandmother had no idea that it would her little idea would have come this far or lasted this long. So we appreciate her efforts back in the day in 1932, beautifying Nashville since then. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and we appreciate your attention for these moments here. And so, with all the weather permitting things in mind, kind of go back to where we started today, talking about what we need to do to get ready for that. We'll always hear about some folks who have made some bad decisions with respect to things that they're not familiar with using normally. Running a generator, running a generator in an attached garage with the outside doors closed, and or running other heaters that are not designed for indoor use in an indoor environment. Whenever a flame is burning, it does so by using the oxygen that is in that room. And even these heaters that are, quote, vent free, those can be used safely while you're awake, but you don't want to ever use those while you're sleeping, or as Josh mentioned earlier in the program, you might continue to sleep.
Yep.
So you got to be really careful about that, and the lack of familiarity and
watch your cords. Any blankets around electric space heaters, anything like, you don't want to have any combustible substance around. That's where I would say probably more house fires are started, with these little exposed heating element type of things that have been down in the basement that you haven't needed for 15, 18 years.
Let's say you're talking about you're using a little small portable generator, and you're going to run a refrigerator, and maybe you want to be able to see your TV and have internet, some very basic things, so that you can, maybe because you may have a gas stove and you're not worried about that. One thing you want to make sure is that the cord that's coming from the generator and running into the house is heavy enough. You don't want to buy one of these $10 16 gauge extension cords. That's not
from
heavy
the
enough.
Grocery store or the
go to the home center and get one that's at least a 12 gauge is what I would recommend. Or heavier, 10 gauges it would be.
And the longer you run, now the rule here, folks, is when you think about the longer the run of the cord, the bigger the diameter of the cord needs to be.
Right, because what's happening is that causes your voltage to drop on the longer the run is. And when your voltage drops, and this may be just glazing over at this point, but when your voltage drops, your amperage goes up. And when the amperage draw goes up, that means resistance is happening. That means the wire starts getting warm. And if you can burn
your motor up too.
Yes, you can you do all manner of damage. What you got, Michael?
We have a voicemail from Corey.
All right, excellent.
Corey Pollard.
It's Corey calling in, stuck in Chicago, needing to know what kind of houseplant I can get for my shoebox in the sky. I'm living in a tiny corporate apartment, 50 stories above Superior Street.
Ooh.
South facing, and I need a houseplant desperately.
Desperately needs a houseplant.
Desperately. Well, the good news is,
he's a California boy. He doesn't deal with that much.
The good news is that with a south facing exposure, you've got light. So that means you have a lot of options open to you. You have things, even things such as a Schefflera, which is a highlight plant, might conceivably do well. Now, obviously, I have no idea about how large these windows are, if you actually have a full length window, and if you're going to be able to successfully transport it. given the weather that and we're just gonna give a little quick look here to see what we've got weather-wise in Chicago. I would say that it's chilly there, and
high of 15 today. I'm going to make a guess, David.
Well, it's currently 9 degrees in Chicago, a high of 16 degrees today. So, so the difficulty, Corey, is the transportation of. Now, it may be that there's some kind of a little floral place in your building. That could well be the case. But let's look at the bright side. Let's look at the 10-day forecast for Chicago coming up here. I do see at the top of the page a wind chill advisory, and it's well deserved. 3 below tonight.
Oh, darn.
8 degrees for the high tomorrow in Chicago, 4 degrees for the low, 14 for the high on Monday, 8 degrees for the low. And it does seem to be warming as we get through the week. They don't seem to be having a huge amount of snow showers, only 3 inches. That's what they call snow showers
What's
in
the
Chicago.
wind speed today, David? Do you have the wind?
It looks like let me get down here and see if I can get to the wind. I got to go one more. Still one more down.
With it being
there.
that cold, I would almost tell Corey it's time to move.
17 mile an hour wind. Now what day is that on? That's Sunday night. So that's chilly. You know, they call Chicago the Windy City, but it's not the windiest of cities. But you'll see that throughout it's 13, 12, 13. So when we're into single digits and you got double digit wind,
and you're going
that's really cold. So the biggest issue you're going to have, Corey, is being able to get
it from where you get it.
Yeah, it's going to freeze before you get there. And let's say you have a full paper sleeve that you can quickly go to a heated car with, and that's going to be a tough one to pull off right now. So,
what about one of those pizza delivery warmers? You could put one in there, right?
If a flat plant, what kind of a prostrate
like
plant?
A short cactus,
Seeds, maybe.
Philodendron. You could shove the vines of the philodendron in there.
I think you would have to have them pretty much fully boxed, and rapidly transport
some nice moss
from
David?
one heated space to another, from a heated spot into a heated vehicle, from there directly into a heated building. Be tough for one person to do it. Of course, I'm sure Corey has
a team.
He has a team he can call on to get this job done, and keeping the behind the camera talent properly, massaged in a mental state to keep them, happy. It's a good thing to do. So I think he should go for it and solicit them as much help as he can possibly get to create a good living space. You don't want to be living in a sterile environment.
Corey just texted us a picture of him in his apartment. And apparently he's talking on a microphone to somebody. So I sent it to you guys because I don't have a way to put it on the screen.
Well, he could call back. You could take his number. He could call back.
Yeah, you know what? How about I just call him?
Okay, we'll just do that then. We'll get him on the line here. We've been a while since we've got to hear from Corey. Now, we'll get him on the line here before we do too lengthy introductions on him. But Corey is our Hollywood connection here on the At Home Show, and everybody needs to have one. And
he's a spam lover as well. He loves spam.
And you know what? There's so many interesting things you can do with spam. Eating
spam
is just
tacos.
Eating is just one of them. You can do spam art. And and he is.
It's not good plant fertilizer.
We got him right here.
Okay.
Hey, Corey.
Good morning.
Hey, boss, what's up?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, David. I'm so sorry it's been so long. It's been a year. I don't know if you saw the coronavirus thing that's happening.
Oh, that? No,
Wait, what's a corona? What is it? A beer virus?
Isn't that something that's like after you've had too many Mexican beers that you get the coronavirus? Is that?
Yeah,
is that what that is?
I saw that too. I saw the sales drop. I stopped drinking it a long time ago.
Well, there are those who have already had enough, and You know?
Yeah.
So,
So great.
Now, Corey,
to be one
what
of those,
show?
man.
Yeah. What show are you
I'm doing
working on
Chicago
there?
Fire. Man, I
Oh,
landed on
wow.
the biggest thing out here.
so
Yeah.
I did not
I took 2
realize
years off.
it actually is done in Chicago. They don't like do a
Oh
recreation.
yeah, we are the real deal. This show was the first of all the One Chicago shows, and we literally shoot real winter for winter. We're outside.
Wow.
We are. It's not easy, man, but it's a lot of
So
fun.
from
It's a great,
shooting
great-
an episode in the winter, like right now, how long did it take for that show to make
Yeah.
it to air?
We actually just shot a scene on Thursday night that will be inserted in a show that airs on Wednesday.
Well, and you need to,
And-
particularly when weather is a part of it, because you don't want it to be showing the first run of it and it be dated weather-wise. You know, you want it a weather scene to be
yeah.
broadcast in the winter, ideally.
Yeah, it's true. And we are doing literally winter for winter. And this scene was actually really exciting. There was a young woman from Florida that we discovered. It was her first television acting job. And the writers wrote this character and thought, wow, if this person that we hire does this well, we might bring this person back in the show as a character that kind of is off Chicago Fire. Well, she was so good, and our episode came in a little bit short. So I told her, I said, I feel like you're going to be back. You're so wonderful. I feel like you're going to be back. And they called her up and put another scene together. She already flew back home, was home for a week, and decided to add another scene in the show in order to allow that character to continue. So I'm looking forward to seeing her come back. And it's so fun. That's what this is. It's like the Dick Wolf clan is like a family.
Okay.
For the first time in years.
Okay, Corey,
people,
I want to get a
you know?
commitment from you right now. We want you to come on and do a Zoom thing here soon with us. Will you do that?
Of course.
Okay,
Yes, I
well,
will.
well,
Fridays and Saturdays are my days off. So I'm
All right.
locked
Well,
in.
Saturday mornings, now you're on the
He's
Central
on
Time
Central
Zone.
Time Zone.
So, and
Yeah,
you see,
Central.
we actually have. What do you think of our little presentation here? I know this.
I like it.
Well, you know, this is our best effort to create the illusion of professionalism.
As a result of
Well,
Corona.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, my
anyway,
son is creating packages for stuff where you know I'm needing a little close up of David when he speaks, and you know I'll figure this out. I'm gonna help you guys.
Well, yeah, there we go. We've got a little close up coming up now. So, anyway, Corey, we are coming up quickly against the end of the program. We only do an hour now since we're doing a full out live show for 1 hour. We only go on the air for an hour. We don't do the 2 hours anymore because we feel like it's a bit much.
Well, we're actually doing 2 hours worth of broadcast
In 1
audio
hour.
in 1 hour.
Yes.
Because we're commercial free.
Right.
So obviously, I still
there it is.
talk about what's going on around here, and we like to talk about plants. But on a day like today,
Now, Corey's question: what's he? Have you seen that view? He's got a big, beautiful window. If you can get it from the nursery or the florist or wherever you can, you've got a world.
There are some great horticultural establishments in Chicago, but I imagine most of them are pretty much in hunker down mode right now. It's and I'm sure that they have opportunities to deal with those kind of things, but all it takes is just seconds.
Maybe he could get an ambulance to go as part of the show. Put the plant inside the ambulance, run immediately back to his house.
Well, see, and you could probably work it in that way.
Right. You know, there is a plant shop that is a block away, but I thought about it when it was so warm and I didn't do it. Now I'm mad at myself.
No,
My
Corey,
apartment's lonely. And it's
I wouldn't be surprised that there is some sort of subterranean way to get to that shop. I mean, if you could have a lobby down there and talk to the people, it would be.
It's a possibility. I don't know the subway system layout in Chicago well enough. I'm more familiar with the L and less familiar with the subway.
Yeah, and I still haven't taken the L or any of the trains here because of the coronavirus thing. They want me to stay sequestered as much as I can in order to not.
So quickly, Corey, how did you make your way to Chicago? Did you actually drive, or did you?
No, I did fly, and it was super stressful. I was not really into it. That was in October that I came out. I couldn't believe I made the decision to come to the show in the middle of the pandemic. I've had I basically stepped away from Hollywood for almost 2 years. I've been doing a lot of work with in-prison education and producing podcasts and doing these other things, they weren't making money. They were just, the soul was good. You know, I was just taking time to heal, growing a little bit. And I was asked to come down because of my personality, because of who I am, and wanted somebody in the pandemic to bring a little different take to this show that's been running for 9 years to kind of help with the coronavirus part of it, because it's a whole other thing, producing a show with masks and face shields and not, you know, everyday testing. And it's been really a challenge, but I'm happy to be here and be part of the team.
It's a different world that we live in today. Well, Corey, I tell you what, we're going to be sending an invite out to you. I'm assuming that your email addresses are the same, or we'll text it to you, and then we'd love to have you on really soon here. Maybe you've got
you tell me when. If you want it next week, I'll do it.
Okay, I think
actually, I believe we have a guest booked already.
We do have a
cool.
But for the week after, I think we'll go ahead and get you in. So you be looking for that. Hey, great to hear from you, Corey. And the best of luck with you on Chicago Fire. That's the great Corey Pollard. Gracing the audio portion of our program. Hope to have him on here in a couple of weeks. We're actually quickly, Josh. We're going to have Phil Crowley in.
Phil, no, that's Father Crowley, and that's Phil Crawley who will be here. Now he's with Anderson Windows. He's scheduled to join us next Saturday morning from during the 8 o'clock hour at some point in time.
A full out production, that's what I understand, right?
Well, I don't know if he'll be here for the full hour.
Well, no, I'm not saying a full out. I mean, they're going to be like bring other people along as well, right?
That's a different person there.
Okay,
but we'll see.
I got enough information just to be confusing.
Exactly.
Yes, you are, and that nothing changes in the At Home Show. But folks, we thank you for being here, and it was a really good surprise to see Corey Pollard join us this Saturday morning. Look forward to him to being in again at some point in time. Go out and watch Waterworld. That was one of the things you'll know Corey from. It's a great flick, and it holds up well. But for Michael and Tyler and David, my name's Josh Cary. We'll see you next Saturday morning from the Green Room Studios for your Saturday morning tradition. We call it the At Home Show.